Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Tuesday, August 19th, 4:30 in the afternoon. Markets are closed, and this is our video for Roundhill weekly paying funds. The first three are 0DTEs on the indexes, QDTE for the NASDAQ 100, XDTE for the S&P 500, and RDTE for the Russell 2000. And then we also cover the YBTC, which is the Bitcoin Covered Call Strategy ETF. All of which sell covered calls to generate income and try to pay out. Well, they do pay weekly. It's just generally trying to earn enough to pay out. I'm on X at ETF_inspector1. Usually it looks better than this, but like today's, I was in the middle of a job and unable to walk away and go to the computer to make it look nicer, but I did try to get the trades out to you. So QDTE sold their calls. It's always going to be selling a call, so that's why it looks like that. The strike price and then what they collected, just in case you are also trying to trade along with them, or if you're just trying to keep track of your investment in these funds. I'm not recommending one thing or the other. I'm just providing information. I also repost things like today. It was distribution day for YBTC, so we're going to talk about that as well. And let's go ahead and get into it. Easy to make the video nice and early like this when the market looks like that. Obviously, unless you didn't turn on anything today, you already knew it's a down day. I was actually very busy, so I don't quite know why all this down happened, and I don't actually have time to look into it. But I know Bitcoin was down and everything else was down as well for the most part. So let's go ahead and take a look. We'll start with YBTC as opposed to how we normally do, since today's declaration day. At least we get some kind of good news. So today was declaration day. If you watched my previous videos, last distribution was a little over 34 cents per share, which came out to 38% annualized yield. My guesstimate was around 42.9. So I was guessing that they were going to jump it back up from the last one, and they did, but even better. 11% higher than my guess was the 48.4327 cents per share. We'll just double check. 48.4327 cents per share on YBTC. So Tuesday's declaration day, Thursday is payday. All right, so if you own those shares, that's what you'll be receiving on Thursday. Now we look at, we're not going to use these numbers, although they're fairly close. We've talked before, Excel's version of updating prices on funds is a little slow at the end of the day, just for everything settling out. So we'll just take a look. YBTC down 2.35%, and its two underlyings, CBTX down 2.8%, so it did perform better than that one. And then IBIT or IBIT down 2.82%. So both of the underlyings down 2.8, and the fund itself down 2.35. So it did outperform. Not that that feels very good in either case when everything's down that much. Their synthetics did not change. They've got September 19th as the expiration for both of them. For CBTX, it's a 27.83 and 43 cents. That's a flex option. That was going to cost $1.5 million to close out as of the start of today. Obviously, that's with the price going down 2.8%, that's probably going to go up at least 2.8%. And when I say up to a larger negative. IBIT, their synthetic is at 66. That it was positive. And it looks like it's probably going. Yeah, it's definitely going to go negative on that one as well, because IBIT now dropped to 64, so below the 66. So both of our synthetics are now going to be underwater and cost money to close out. But we've got time. We have exactly a month left on those for them to move back up. Our calls are sold for the week 28.1779 on CBTX. That one's looking real safe, 5.3% out of the money after today's drop, and 67 on IBIT. That's 4.38% out of the money. Next, we will just go in order on our DTE funds. DTE, we've had questions in the comments. What's the difference between a zero DTE versus non-zero DTE? I know that's odd terminology. So basically, most of your trades are just a normal option trade, and then they just tell you you have 7 days until this expires, or 21 days until this expires. Zero DTE trade means it expires on the same day that you made it. So as you can see, today's August 19th, and that's what these funds do. When the stock market opens, they sell a call that expires August 19th. Now, those aren't very available on most, I don't know of any stocks, but there's probably some of the real major ones, but they are available on indexes. So that's what these trade on. So for QDTE, they sold NDX calls at 23,680. Basically, right where the market opened, they knew it was going to be dropping, and it did. They could have sold it way lower and collected a whole lot, but obviously nobody's got a crystal ball. It could have bounced and they'd have been in a whole lot of trouble. But it closed well below that, so it costs $0 to settle it at the end of the day. Not sure why it's not carrying over the dollar signs. I'll fix that later. So it's a full profit of $828,000 on the trading day. None of their holdings have changed. You can see this is a different strategy where YBTC does a synthetic by buying a call and selling a put at the same price. That mimics having the stock. These zero DTE funds buy a deep in the money call, somewhat long dated expiration. This one's getting ready to expire next month. Then you've got another position expiring in December, then March, then the following June, then the following September. And then those represent the owning the shares, and you're able to sell calls off of those. Let's see, the NASDAQ versus QDTE. NASDAQ was down 1.39%, where QDTE was down less, 1.27%. For the most part, that is because they at least brought in some money, as far as $828,000 of income, and also having money in T-bills and government funds is going to earn a small percentage. So that's why when the underlying goes down, the fund doesn't follow quite as deep. 150,000 shares were increased into the fund, so now there's 24,440,000 outstanding. When the day started, the value of the fund was $35.51 a share. Obviously, that dropped by more than 1%. That's why we're down around 35. There's roughly $867 million in assets under management. That is before today's drop, so that will obviously go down. And let's see, tomorrow, 1 day left till declaration day, and my guesstimate is 23.75 cents. Next, we have XDTE. They sold calls on SPX at 6,455. SPX closed at 6,411, so nowhere close. While we're here, let's look at it. SPX down 0.59%, XDTE down 0.48%. So the funds, again, outperformed the underlying. They collected $4.48 per share on 651 contracts, resulted in $291,000 collected. They don't have to pay anything to close that out because it did not exceed their strike. So it's a full profit 2 days in a row on both funds so far. Again, there was $417 million in assets under management before today's drop started. S&P didn't get beat up anywhere nearly as bad as the NASDAQ. So that won't drop too much, a 0.5% or so. 9.4 million outstanding shares. You can see your deep in the money calls that are purchased here, expiring September, December, the following June, and the following September. Quantities on each, when we total these up, that ends up being the amount of contracts they sell. Our most recent distribution was just under 25 cents, and they're declaring tomorrow. Again, my guess was 25 cents. I don't know how busy I'll be. What I've found, what got shown to me, is that the information gets released kind of later on tonight, even though they call tomorrow declaration day. So either watch out for me to post it on here, the numbers, or if you don't want to wait for me, I believe it's after 8 p.m. If you go on Roundhill's website, scroll down to distributions, it'll end up being on that next line there. Okay, and then finally, we've got RDTE. They sold 649 calls at $23.05 on the Russell 2000, collecting $2.28 per share, or $147,000. The Russell was down 0.78%, where RDTE only dropped 0.63%, and the Russell closed at 22.76, well below that 23.05, so it won't cost anything for cash settlement at the end, and it's a full profit of $147,000. Again, the Russell didn't drop nearly as bad as the NASDAQ either, down roughly 0.7%. There's 4.4 million outstanding shares in the fund. It started the day at $33.94 NAV value. Obviously, dropping with the day is the reason the share price is below that. $149 million assets under management. And you can see all of your deep in the money calls. One change here, they have added to this furthest their furthest expiration date contracts. They purchased 9 more. So we've got it here. This went from 21 yesterday to 30 now. So they purchased more calls at 225.17 for September 18th of next year. That allowing them to sell 9 more calls as well. So that's our only change as far as that's concerned. Let's see, 31 cents is my guesstimate for tomorrow's announcement, and that's all I've got for you. So it's a rough day. Everything's red, but obviously every day can't be green. So we'll get through it, and we'll have some, I'll call it good news tomorrow when we get our distributions declared. So have a good day and good luck trading tomorrow.